In part 17, we left off finishing up with Frank Rosek's interview with CBI, and in part 18, we're going to be going into Frankie's interview with CBI, and it was also done at the Green Tree Motel, and it says, action taken on 8/21, CBI agent Matthew Saylor with agent Tracy S. responded to the Doubletree Hotel located in Greeley, Colorado to interview Frankie Rosek, brother of Shanann Watts. The interview began at approximately 15:47 hours and was conducted from his motel room, and that would be 3:47 p.m. The interview was audio recorded, and a copy of the recording is attached to this report. The following is a synopsis of the interview. For additional information, refer to the audio recording. And we do have that interview on our channel in audio record. I will link it at the end of this video in case you haven't had the opportunity to get to listen to it yet. Frankie said that Shanann wasn't sick while in North Carolina until the day her husband, Chris, arrived. He said that Chris was acting standoffish, but they didn't really think much about it. He said that he was pretty close with Shanann, and she would tell him things that she wouldn't tell her parents. He said she never said anything to him about her and Chris not getting along. He said that she would tell her friends that she wouldn't tell him because she did not want him to worry or tell their parents. He said that on the day that Chris arrived in North Carolina, she was throwing up and had a bad headache. He said Shanann has always had bad headaches. He said he doesn't sleep well and is often up, so he would check on Shanann. He said that Shanann slept on the couch that night, which he thought was odd. He said that Chris never came out to check on her, which was out of character for him because he was always so caring. He said that Chris was a very good mechanic and helped him fix his brakes. He said that Chris was always a good guy, and he hugged him and thanked him for everything when Chris left North Carolina. He said as soon as he saw the interview Chris did on TV, he knew Chris had done something to Shanann and their daughters. He said that he was planning on coming to Colorado in October for Halloween. He said that one day Shanann was on the phone and the girls were screaming for her, even though they could see her. He said that the girls wanted to be sure their mom was close by them. He said he made a comment to Chris about him being chopped liver. He said that he couldn't see Chris hurting Shanann and couldn't image what had happened. He said he heard a noise at about 2 in the morning on the night Chris arrived in North Carolina, and he checked on it to find Shanann was sick. He asked her if it was due to the pregnancy, and she said it probably was. He said Shanann had made a post about how she was dehydrated from being in the South, but he said there was no way because she drank a lot of water. He said that Shanann ate lots of vegetables and took care of herself, and that taking care of her unborn baby was her first priority. He said that he heard that Shanann and Chris got into an argument that night, but he didn't hear it. He said he believed it was the night before Shanann, Chris, and the girls left North Carolina. He said that he believed the argument was over Chris's parents. He said he lived in Colorado for about a month and a half when Bella was first born. He said that Bella is quiet and distant, and Celeste is more wild. He said that they learned of Chris's confession on the news. He said that the family received phone calls from the media, and he spoke with one of them for about 30 minutes before realizing who she was. He received a friend request on Facebook from a Chris Watts. I checked the alert and observed the profile picture was a booking photograph of Chris and advised Rosek that it was most likely a fake account created by someone in an attempt to get a reaction out of the family. that really makes me wonder who would have done that. Was it just some random troll with nothing better to do, or was it somebody that, I don't know. If it was some random troll, it is just unreal how quick they work just to pull their claws out and start trolling. Frankie said that he feels sorry for Chris and that he loved him like a brother. Wow. And double wow. This was on the 21st, 6 days after Chris admitted to killing Shanann. He feels sorry for him and he loves him like a brother. Wow. This family they're bigger than I am. I mean, I truly have to say they're bigger people than I am. If this had I don't know. It's going to stop right there. Kudos to you, Frankie. I mean, that is a big thing to say. You've just been through and heard about this guy. So kudos to you for being able to do that, because I couldn't do it. Frankie said there is no doubt in his mind that Shanann would never hurt her children. Frankie said that Shanann found pistachios in his room and became very upset because Celeste is very allergic to them. So, see, there you go. There was actually some pistachio nuts that was at her parents' house as well, but they were in Frankie's room. As you see, he says that Shanann came very upset with him because of Cece's allergies. So it wasn't just the Whites that she would get upset with about that. She was very upset with her own brother about that, obviously, because he said it. He said that she wasn't supposed to be able to have kids because she had lupus, and the girls were her life. Frankie said that Shanann only slept on the couch in North Carolina one night, and he believed it was the night that Chris arrived. He said that the last day they were in North Carolina, they were supposed to meet Chris's family at the beach. He said they went to the beach but did not meet up with Chris's family due to the earlier fight over the nuts. Frankie said that he kept in contact with Chris's sister, Jamie Watts, even after the big fight. He said he received text messages from her after Chris's interview on the news, and she was defending him. He told her that people were going to talk bad about him and not to let it bother her. He is trying to comfort Jamie, even in his own and hurt. He's still trying to comfort Chris's sister. Wow. Just wow. He is definitely a bigger person than I am. I don't know. Now, someone had mentioned earlier in the comments, and I can't remember the name, and I can't remember if I even had the opportunity to reply back to it, but it was mentioned by someone that Chris's family showed up to the beach as well, and something about they weren't allowed to see the kids or Chris or whatever because of the situation. But here Frankie says that they went to the beach, but they did not meet up with his family due to the earlier fight over the nuts. So, see, I'm not sure how you would take that. Does Frankie mean that they went to the beach as far as him, his parents, Shanann, Chris, and the kids? Or does he mean they, as in Chris's parents? Because it does say they were supposed to meet Chris's family at the beach. He said they went to the beach, but didn't meet up with Chris's family due to the earlier fight over the nuts. So, actually, to me, that says, since the word supposed to meet is kind of a past tense kind of thing, then personally to me, that says that Chris's family did not show up there. That they were supposed to show up there to see the girls and Chris, but they never showed up because of the fight over the nuts. That's the way I take that. Now, somebody mentioned earlier in the comment that they did show up. I don't know. Just from the way that's worded, I take it that they didn't, and I could be wrong, but that's the way I take that. Frankie said Chris's dad posted pictures of the girls all the time, and that he liked and commented on all of Shanann's posts of the girls. So see, there again, he's saying the same thing that Frank did. That Ronnie was very, involved in looking at their pictures, talking about the girls. The girls just loved him. Shanann liked Ronnie. It was just the thing with Miss Watts, not Mr. Watts, and Shanann. Frankie said that Chris's family lives in Spring Lake, North Carolina, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from where they live. Frankie said he didn't speak with Shanann as much as he used to, partially because she posted so much on social media. Frankie says he has depression and he believes he needs medication to see a doctor. Frankie had no further information in the report. Okay, Frankie is the victim's family, and he is telling them that he has depression and would like to see a doctor because he believes he needs medication for his depression. And I remember listening to this interview because this written report here is very small in comparison to the actual audio, as per usual. So I will take the actual audio and I'm going to link it at the end of this video. And if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend listening to it because it is very interesting. But what got me about that is Frankie sat there and said he had depression. He needs to see a doctor, needs medication. They told him back, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe you need to do that. You know, they were telling him, yeah, that's probably something you need to do. However, they never offered him help. They never offered him any sort of victim therapy, victim counseling, anything like that. But yet, they offered it, basically threw it at NK. Why? I mean, this is the family. So obviously, they're really going through something here. So I wonder why they didn't offer him some help as well. Were quick to offer it to her, and as a matter of fact, was telling her that's the top priority. You need to take care of yourself first before you worry about anything else, all this kind of stuff. But they kind of brushed him off and like, yeah, well, yeah, you probably do need to do that. I don't know. I just found that wrong. Really the only word I know for it. Anyway, going on down, this is an investigative supplement. This report date this is going to be Robert Mary interview. He is an Anadarko employee. And the synopsis reads, CBI was requested to assist Frederick Police Department in a missing persons case homicide. Robert Mary was identified as an Anadarko employee who worked and knew Chris Watts. Agent G interviewed Robert by phone on 8/23, Robert Mary, and it is a male 34-year-old Anadarko employee. Action taken. Agent G interviewed Robert Mary by phone on 8/23/18 at 10:53 hours, 10:53 a.m. Robert met Chris Watts roughly 2 years ago through work at Anadarko. Chris was Robert's team roper. Chris also did computer work in the office in the absence of IOC staff that worked on computers. See, I don't remember. That must have been a part again I skimmed over because I personally don't remember ever hearing about Chris done computer work in the office at Anadarko if one of the staff that done that work was off for whatever reasons. Like he was the fill-in guy at Anadarko that did the computer work. That's pretty interesting, and I do not remember that from reading it before. Robert does not know what IOC stands for. They look at computers to determine things about well production. Chris would look at the computer and then have someone go check out a well if perhaps the production was down. Chris worked mostly in the field. He was always a rover and worked as an extra hand to employees, such as Robert, who had an assigned route. As a rover, Chris was not dedicated to a certain route. He would talk with the work group to see what help was needed where, and then he would work there. Chris was a field operator and would cover routes as relief to those that were off work or could not cover their own route. Robert considered Chris a friend at work. They did not socialize outside of work. Sports was a big thing to Chris, and he is a Carolina Panther fan. Robert would talk about football with Chris. Chris did not really talk about anything personal at work. If Chris was gone from work, Robert and others would know that his kids were having a health issue. But that was really all Robert knew of Chris's family. Robert last saw Chris at work on 8/10. Chris acted as he usually does. Robert has since watched interviews Chris gave to the media prior to his arrest, and Robert felt that Chris on the interviews was the Chris he knew at work. His demeanor and body movements were as Chris was the way Robert knew Chris. He demonstrated nothing out of the ordinary to Robert. And see, there again, there we go on the doesn't really show emotions thing. The people that truly and really knew Chris was like, he's not acting any different. He always acts like that. You know, we're not seeing what everybody else is seeing with him. I mean, we can kind of understand why they feel this way when they're seeing this, but at the same time, that's not what we're seeing, because that's the only way we've ever seen Chris, like this emotional, empty, cold person just standing there. That's just Chris. He don't show happy, he don't show sad, he don't show worry, he doesn't show mad, he shows nothing. Robert saw Chris every day at work in the mornings. The employees with assigned routes would then leave the office and go work on the routes. Chris would get a task assigned or go back to work on something he was already working on. Robert saw no indications that Chris had any family problems. He never met Shanann or their children. Robert once talked to Shanann by phone for her to give him a spiel about Thrive. Robert had seen stories about how Chris had a happy family, and Robert would have guessed that Chris lived a normal, happy life. There were no indications that Chris was not of sound mind at work. Chris was very thorough and checked boxes to make sure he had what he needed to do to get the job done. Chris was a mechanic prior to working for Anadarko. Robert said that Chris did his job very well. Robert stated that is trying to remember Chris as the guy that he worked with after this case. He was hesitant to provide his mailing address as he fears being bombarded with contact efforts to gain information. I assured him his address would be in the law enforcement official report, which would be provided to Frederick Police Department and the DA's office, but not released to media by CBI. I told him that in the event he would be needed as a witness to testify, he would be contacted in the future, so he did provide his address. I thanked Robert for his time. Attachments, none with this report. Okay, we're going to stop right here on part 18, and I will also be uploading part 19 almost immediately as I upload this one. So stay tuned for that one, and I hope you have a great night, evening, wherever you may be. If you got anything out of this video, please hit the thumbs up. We truly appreciate it. And this is Unjustified.